Hey guys, welcome back. Life with Lenoci. Here we are. What are we on? 14?
No.
Yeah, I think so. What are you changing the levels? Guys, welcome back to another episode of Life with Lenoci. Thank you guys for listening. Thanks for being here. Thanks for watching. Thanks for all of the above. For whatever way you listen. I believe we are on week. I'm gonna look right now. Oh, this is we're on week 14. So time flies.
So
Which is,
13
what's
and 1?
week 14? So 13 and 1. What is that? That is just over 3 months. We're on month 4. Time flies, man. We're on month 4. We're growing. I wonder what it was like from week 1 to week 4. If there's a big difference. There's a big difference in my weight. That's for sure. 11 pounds since June 1st. I'm down 11 pounds. Did I come in and have a little cheat snack? Yep. A Nutter Butter. A Nutter Butter, which we both agree, one of the top 10 greatest grade school snacks during lunch or throughout the day you could possibly have. I had half of it. He's supposed to the other half. He doesn't want to because now he's on the losing weight thing. He wants to get below a certain weight. We're not going to say it because we don't want to humiliate him, but he's high up. He's high up and lower to the ground. So if you can guess what he looks like, going back to Village Idiots, still waiting for someone to draw you in. But here we are. And this week's going to be about being selfish. Everybody's got to be selfish to a point. You don't lead with being selfish, but you just want to be able to take time to yourself. Sometimes you put too much energy into other people or other things, and you need to be selfish. And that's a reminder. And that's where we are going to start this week. And that's where the music fades out right there. Bam. 155 faded out, and let's get right into the episode. What were you saying real quick? Were you going to say something? No?
I lost my train of thought.
You lost your train of thought. Mark lost his train of thought. He also didn't realize that we were recording today. He was late. Now, I don't mind him being late because I'm more late than he is late. And also, but he does have to set up. But the setup's pretty quick. How was your week, man? How was your week?
I've been I'm honestly absolutely exhausted. I'm normally not exhausted.
Mark,
I'm usually
always exhausted.
No. I'm usually wow, but I had a late night last night. I've been shooting back-to-backs.
All right.
So, but
all right.
This week's been fun.
That's fine. This week for me has been great with work ethic. Work ethic has been great. Working out every day. Emotionally and mentally has been one of the rougher weeks in years. I don't know why. No one died. Relax. I can't wait to see the therapist.
I was going to say, how did session 2 go?
Session 2 went great. Kind of unloaded on her a bunch of stuff that was going on. Stuff that I can't talk about on the podcast. Although I guess I could, but just managing some stuff. I feel like, this past couple weeks have been rough on the relationship. Nothing seriously rough, but communication issues, not connecting, not vibing. Do you ever have weeks where you don't feel connected with your wife?
Yeah.
Oh, that's normal?
Yeah.
Okay. Really?
This is one of those weeks. I haven't seen her in a week. We've just been crossing paths.
But is it are you guys both irritable when you're around each other, because of that?
There's no way to say this without sounding like an asshole.
It's okay. This is a safe place, Mark. It's a safe place.
Yeah, there's times that I feel disconnected from her, and there's times where I know she's just in any relationship you can tell someone's looking for a fight. You're oh, something bad happened, but no problem. But
looking
then
for a fight. I like that.
It's when there's something that's bothering them, when they tell you they're fine. Sure.
The cliche shit.
Yeah. But then there's something minuscule that it's that is what you chose to die on?
There's little things like that will happen when I do see her. She's on a roll right now with her stuff, and I'm on a roll with my stuff. So, that's good. So now we're both very independent. Less time where there would be times, when we first met, we met during a pandemic. There was nothing to do, so we would hang out 10 hours a day. Right now, there's she's getting the groove of her artwork, and I'm in the groove of comedy. But then now I feel like I'm losing that little person who was like obsessed that was around. And it's like, hey, where you going?
It's like what they say about the dogs in the pandemic. They're like, wait. You know, all the people that got dogs during the pandemic.
Oh, wow.
And then now they've got to go back to work and the dogs are like, what the hell
what
is
the
this?
What the F? So, but you know, sometimes now, and this goes into with the being selfish thing is like, okay, listen, I've been very caught up and emotionally involved in a lot of my friends' lives for the last few years. Kind of help, like, listen, I've said this before. I don't struggle with depression. You know, we all have our problems. We all have things that we need to work on. But I kind of always want to like, I always stand by my friends. I always want to help them. And I think that, you know, Haley's kind of leading it like, hey, I need to be selfish right now and do my stuff. You need to be selfish and do your stuff. You can't always just like make plans and go hang out. Like we just need to be our own selfish times, like always being around other couples. So, I mean, I guess that's where that comes from. I wrote down why being selfish is important. Listen, I don't have the answers. I kind of just say stuff. And like I said last week or this week, today, you know, I shoot these a week ahead. I posted a clip on the podcast page on Instagram and they go into the reels where it's just random people. And the clip was about me running into the guy eating the pizza. And it was like, hey, listen, if someone gives you a hard time about eating fries in the car, now that's a problem. And I went into that whole riff. Someone got mad. Like, just like, I just think that's hilarious that you can't do anything in this day and age in comedy, or you don't even have to be a comic, just a content creator. If you put it on any of the platforms, there's different scales of how mad people will get. Are you going to go look at it right now?
Yeah, I want to see the comments.
Go to the comments of the last post on the Life of the Lenoci podcast. But going into this, Facebook, I've had a couple clips. Did I talk about this already? Facebook, I had a couple clips go viral and the comments in it about the proposal bit. Did I talk about that last week?
Mm-mm.
I do an older bit. I reposted it. I cut it up differently and reposted it. Bit I used to do back in the day. It's on YouTube. About how I saw a guy proposing to a girl at a baseball game, and then he gets down on one knee, and then she gets overwhelmed and says no and like runs off and embarrasses him, right? And I basically say, hey, ladies, if a guy proposes to you in public, just say yes. Always just say yes. And then when you get in the car on the way home,
you pull the rug.
Be like, no.
Yeah.
Don't like ruin baseball for the guy. It's a joke, right? Make it a joke about the people in the comment section on Facebook. Facebook is the most toxic, I realized. That's where you got the craziest people.
Yeah.
I would say that because the comment section for that innocent of a bit, we're not talking about abortion here. We're not talking about politics. We're not talking about any of the hot topics, not sexuality, anything like that. People were like, you to be a man and force women to tell them what to say. Like what? You know what I mean? Like taking it totally out of context. There's some people commenting like, hey man, he's just making a joke. That's the problem with some of these comics. They think you can just make jokes. Like, you're like, wow, this is like, and then.
But that's such a like most low stakes joke.
That's what I'm saying. So my point is, if that's getting people heated, imagine putting something out there that's like, I don't know. Just imagine putting anything that scratches the surface of something topical.
Actually political. Drape it over the arm.
What is going on? But that's never really happened before. Maybe the mic is just really sensitive. So I'm just so confused about like how that's making a noise. So my point being about the Facebook one, I talked to a social media guy because, you know, I'm curious, you know, I want to grow. I don't want to be left behind. And that's a fear a lot of comics have, right? And because you want to consistently be relevant in the industry, right? What?
Is it because you're all younger, the younger child?
No, I think
going back to that.
Well, no. I think that a lot of comedians suffer from this. you are well. I don't think like a 5-year comic can speak on this yet, but like if you've been in this business over 10 years, you've seen waves of things, and then you're always jumping on a wave and trying to get a piece of it, right? And when you've been through so many, and I talk to other comedians, and like it's just like we keep missing waves: the podcast wave, the half hour presents waves, the TikTok wave now, whatever it is, and now it's the clips wave, right? Where it's like that wave's gone, right? It might be still working for some people, but like it's like, what's his name was doing it, Schultz, years ago, and now everybody's doing it, so it's gonna be saturated. So the point being, so I was talking to a social media guy because like I'm just trying to be educated about it, and remind me to get back on this topic about being educated on. So I'm talking to this guy, and he's like, part of the reason a lot of things do go viral, yes, some crowd where clips go viral, but it's people are mad. If people get mad at something they're watching, it will go viral. That's what it is. So it's almost like, and today before I go into the podcast, I'm thinking like, man, I should just like fake set up like, and we've done that before of being like, like just being like, I don't see the big deal with abortion. I don't see the big deal with abortion, man. Something like that. And then like,
someone's going to clip that. It's going to be great.
Great. Go ahead. Get people to listen to the full episode. But you know what I mean? So that's really what it is. But I'm doing this. This is where I feel good with the podcast, with what we're doing, because now I'm clipping these bits, right? And that everything I'm clipping is just like a strong opinion on really nothing. It's just something mundane. And like the fact that I'm getting a rise out of these people, now this is fun. Like I feel like we're on to something. Now it's just like doing the episodes and finding a good riff about something that doesn't matter, and then me clipping it, and then just get it. Like if people are going to get mad about this, then there's no winning. Someone's going to always be mad. If someone's mad that I said that if someone says you can't eat a fry in a car, you got to get them out of your friendship circle because they're going to cause you trauma and grief later on in life, that's hilarious. If you're a human that trait, what did you read the comment? The long one?
It's in the reels?
Yes. Well, it's on the main page. It's the latest post. Go to Life with
on
Lenoci
the
Pod.
YouTube channel.
No. On the Instagram. Go to the Instagram and go to the latest post of my Life with Lenoci Pod, the one I posted today, and click all comments, and there's one guy who wrote a paragraph.
Oh shit, I should follow this.
You don't follow it?
I'm just kidding.
Do you see it?
Yeah, pulling it up.
You see the paragraph one? What does he say?
Bro, I eat pizza and lunch in my car all the time.
No. That's not the one. There's a long one.
Wow.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
Like imagine writing an essay on a comedy podcast clip about a guy saying you should be able to eat fries in a car, but maybe a taco, but definitely not a pizza.
So here's the thing. If it's longer than like 10 words, I don't type it on my phone. I just do. I use dictate. I can't imagine spending the time to write this.
Well, how about this? But you just even writing anything, like even a text that long, better be only to like a girlfriend you're fighting with. Like that it's just like heat. Like it's also just so dumb. Like you want to read it? Read it so the listeners can hear. This guy comments this.
What? There's like 50 question marks.
Yeah.
This is a reach. People have rules for their cars. My dad was very anal when it came to his car, but he pays the note, insurance, he washes it, he maintains it. He has the discretion to do so. The fact that people have any respect for the boundaries and rules you have for your life is a testament to how self-absorbed and inconsiderate you are. I love fucking with people that just you got to finish the conjugations here. You can't go into Walmart and shit on the floor and label them as toxic because they take your.
Because what?
They take your rules everywhere you go. It's narcissistic AF. But instead of owning that, you'd rather deflect and say they're contributors to your stress and anxiety. No! Exclamation point. You need to grow the TF up. You live in a world with other people. Respect them, and hopefully it'll be reciprocated.
Oh,
This is just
my.
an asshole message, bro. Peace and love. The sheer irony of him
Oh, I know.
going on a rant about your rant.
Yeah.
Because your rant was about the inconsiderate nature of the guy eating pizza. And he's saying that
Like, I really care that much.
and it's inconsiderate of you to go on a rant about a guy eating pizza. It's inconsiderate
So
to
this
him.
is what I'm talking about. I'm all in for this. I want this to keep happening. And I want it to happen extreme. Like, I want a clip to go get tens of thousands of views and there's thousands of angry comments. And this is just great for us to talk about. Because then it you know what it does? It sheds light on how insane this world is. And that's what the internet has been. I've basically said this forever. I go, the internet has just showed us how insane the world really is because we get to see the inside of everybody's brain. It's like in the 90s, you had no idea. You knew what the opinions of your classmates were, your neighbors at most, maybe some coworkers, because it was always frowned upon to speak about stuff at work. That was always a golden rule at work or like a very important rule. Like I remember my mom told me, you're not allowed to talk about politics at work. I'm sure that's out the door now. Now you can't tell a woman she has nice hair, but you for sure could tell them that Trump's an idiot. That's what's crazy. So, but the internet now with Twitter, you have crazy minds on there, but now it's extremely left on Twitter. Then you have Instagram, which is just kind of independent, right? You have TikTok that almost seems more right than left. Or it's
TikTok's super right.
Yeah, right? That's what I'm picking up on.
It's from China.
So TikTok does seem more right. I see like I way more like stuff like that on TikTok.
TikTok is lowest common denominator.
But Instagram's pretty independent. There's both sides, but either way, you're seeing all forms of people just speaking their mind without thinking. And I do this too. We're all guilty of it. Everybody is just sharing their opinion on something without really thoroughly understanding or investigating what they're talking about to get all perspectives from it and then share that opinion. For the most part. I mean, I would say even Ben Shapiro, right? That's probably a smart ass guy. He's definitely smart. You can't argue that he's not smart. He's definitely educated. And listen, I'm not talking about his politics. I'm talking about the human being is for sure well put together. Now, what he talks about and what his views are, I would say he definitely has at least scaled the opinions or the information of what he is talking about. The rest of us, the rest of us are literally just like what we were doing with the baseball player in the patch. We're just like, hey, this isn't right. And then our opinions change once we get more information. Most people, and then I would say most news places, when you're watching CNN or Fox, they're like, okay, what's going on in the news? Abortion? Well, Fox, you have to lead with why this is good. That's your job. Okay, regardless of getting all the information. And abortion has been a thing for what, 50, 60 years, right? 50 years. So, and it's been a topic and it's brought up at every presidential campaign, right?
Any political debate,
they still bring, I mean, they've been bringing it up since I was a kid, even though it was still a law because it was always just a topic. Now, we aren't political. He walked in and he was like, he said something about it. It's like, I don't even care. But this is what's sick about the world. I can't even talk about the road versus, I can't even say this. If I say this, and this is going to get clipped. If I say this, if I go, okay, everybody is up in arms about overturning Roe versus Wade, right? And they have the right to, right? There's people who are happy that it got overturned. But there's also people who are like, I don't give a shit. That will make both sides mad at you. So now you have three parties because there are genuinely people out there like myself who I'm like, okay, it is what it is. I'm not going to fight for it. I'm not going to march for it. I'm not for either side, whatever I believe. I don't know what I believe, to be honest. I know that from the outside, hearing stuff, I'm like, well, that's sounds stupid. It sounds like you should be allowed to just get an abortion if you want to. That's where I'm at right now. All right. But if I sat down and I looked at every side of the argument, I don't know what my answer will be. But I don't care to do that work. Does that make sense?
Yeah, you're just lazy.
It's not lazy. I don't have to, because
know.
if I wanted to do the work, like, I would be more thrilled to go march about banning AR-15s than I would about abortions. You know what I mean? Like, but I also don't know both arguments. Like, the thing is, if you're going to go out there and argue, you should definitely research both sides of the argument and get all your facts before you are definitively like, hey, this is how I stand on something, and this is 100% how I stand on it, because I have all the information and this is what I've gathered and I've formed an opinion. Now me, I watch it and I watch comedians go up and I go, well, here he goes. He's going to do a bit based off of who he's surrounded by. He's surrounded by a bunch of liberals in California, and they're going to say this is outrageous. And he's going to do a pro-abortion bit. Now, most comedians are surrounded by liberal people. But if you were in an environment like, Alabama or Georgia or somewhere where it's heavily Republican, and you were around people who were giving you facts and opinions about why it should be outlawed, you would probably be a comic who's like, I'm going to do a bit about why it should. No one is literally sitting down and getting all the research. Now, after I'm done with this rant, Mark's going to be like, well, I did this, da. But we really don't know. Like, how much research do you really know about abortion?
I know enough.
You know enough.
I know enough.
You know enough to form a strong opinion to know that you're right because you know the other side of the argument?
Absolutely.
Here's what I've heard. I heard that they paint it a certain way, but nobody wants to necessarily. It's stopping people from aborting babies beyond 3 months, right?
No, it's from conception.
Now it is.
Now.
But before, the right would argue it's not that the whole thing. We just don't want people aborting babies after 3 months. That was kind of like what the right's argument was for it.
Yeah.
Which
well,
then
no, the
someone
right
in the
side
middle
was wanting to ban it completely.
Some
No.
right people.
It's the platform
Yeah.
is completely. Because the entire platform is being driven by the evangelicals.
Yeah.
Going back
Yeah.
to the comment that you got,
Yeah.
how come you have not responded to it?
I don't respond on that. I just kind of let them
But
go.
that's the perfect thing to be like, I bet you ate pizza in your car today.
All right, then that's what I'll do. I mean, yeah.
Actually, never mind. Wait, no, that was the other comment that said I eat pizza in my car every day.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know. I just rather not, like, it's just like, he's not going to respond, whatever.
It looks like he's from Miami.
The guy who wrote that?
Yeah.
No, Miami people are too busy enjoying life to fucking, that's someone in the middle of the country who's stuck in his life. He's stuck in his life. I felt really good about that.
It says Miami.
It does?
Yeah.
Fuck off. That's why you said that.
No, I'm serious.
Oh. Well, either way, I felt really good about that rant. Who knows how it comes off? I can't wait to clip it. Can't wait to just dude, that's going to get people angry.
Yes.
Oh, it's going to get people angry.
Yes.
And you know what, though? That's the whole thing of like, well, it's taken out of context because you got to watch this whole episode to hear what I was really saying. What I said is a great point. Some of us don't care to research that shit. You know what I do research? You know what I do?
Fantasy football?
No, I sometimes when it gets close to that, but like I'll be like laying in bed and I'll be like, the early 2000s, who was league MVP but also went to the finals, and then like I'll Google like the history of like the NBA and MLB, and like I get in my head laying in bed, I'll start thinking about like, I'll be like, oh yeah, I barely remember that season, but who won? And then I'll just like start researching that. And that I could argue all day with people. I could be like, well, dude, do you know how dominant Shaq was? Do you know how dominant he was? Like, I was looking back, I know I was jokingly talking about it, but now I really want to talk about it. I went back and looked. I go, this guy, okay, first of all, in his third season, he goes to the finals with the Magic. All right. Then he heads off to LA, and obviously his first 2 years in LA. The second year they draft Kobe, and this is the end of Jordan, right? His third year in LA, they go to the finals, and they go to.
So that's 2000 you're talking about.
Yes.
Okay.
That's his third year. They go to the finals. They go to the finals 3 years in a row and win 3 in a row. He's finals MVP 3 years in a row. That already is a feat that hasn't been matched since Michael Jordan. And then before that, no one else. Okay. Since you would have to go back to Bill Russell, right? So, even Magic and Bird, 2 years here, 2 years there, back and forth, then Jordan, but no one else. Okay. Then they go back and they lose in the Western Conference Finals. Okay. And then the next year they go to the finals and lose.
That was a Pistons year.
The year they lost to the Pistons,
Yeah.
yes. But the year before, they lost and didn't go, and the Spurs went and they beat someone. I should remember. But also the year before, the Lakers went and they lost in the Western Conference Final before that. So he went 7 years. Oh, this is what it was. Okay, so Jordan goes 98. 99 is the year of the Spurs versus Knicks, I believe, right? That year, Lakers lose to the Spurs. So that's how dominant. Then they go in the 3 in a row. They win 3 in a row. Then the fourth year, the Spurs go again, and they beat. Or is it no? Lakers go four in a row.
They went 3,
and then
they had a 2,
and then they had 1. No, because then he goes straight to the Heat. So they win the 3 in a row. Then the fourth year, the Spurs get in, and they beat the Lakers, and the Spurs win against, I forget who. Oh, the Nets. The Nets go 2 years in a row.
Right.
The Nets go 2 years in a row.
03 because it's
So
the
then,
same year
yes.
as Devils.
So they go 2 years in a row. So then the following year, the Lakers go and then lose to the Pistons. So that's basically 3, 4. They go to 4 finals, but he goes to 6 Western Conference Finals in a row, which is dominating. I mean,
yeah,
is LeBron dominating? And then the breakup happens. He goes to the Heat in 05. That year, he's in the Eastern Conference Final, loses the Pistons. Pistons go, and they lose to the Spurs. Okay? The next year, he wins with the Heat. So that means he, for 8 years in a row, was at least in the Final 4 and went to 6 finals.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe 9 years in a row. That is, this is why sports are fascinating, because people, while it's happening, want to gauge what someone is, but there's a reason why baseball, basketball, and all sports, there's a 4-year window before they evaluate if you're a first bid Hall of Famer, and why you have a 15-year eligibility, right? Because it takes sometimes, not for guys like LeBron, he's instantly in, but there's certain other guys that who's playing basketball right now that you're like, okay, when they retire and 4 years removed, we'll kind of see how they stand. But in 15 years, you'll be like, oh, Chauncey Billups, that was a great little run he had. Yeah, we'll put him in the Hall of Fame. That's what's kind of crazy. Now, looking back at what Shaq did, you're like, whoa! Now, that's a little history lesson for you guys. I like talking about that stuff. Oh, but this is this is a hot take too. All right, and this is about stand up. And this is for, I believe once you've put your 10 years in, you're like a vet in this game, don't ever give a comic of advice. Never. If you're a 20-year comic and you have a 12-year comic, don't give him advice about the art he's doing. Business all day. You could give business advice to anyone. A 5-year comic could give business advice to a 10-year comic, right? When it comes to business, whatever, anything goes. But when it comes to the art, about a delivery or a joke, something like that, and they've been doing it at least 10 years, don't fuck with it. Leave it alone and let them do their thing, and just at that point, that's how I feel right now.
Did someone more senior give you advice? or was it someone lower give you more advice?
Neither. I just kind of thought about it.
But
I've seen it happen. Like maybe just observing.
say someone, like say Chappelle comes to give you advice.
I would say leave me alone.
Would you really?
If he said something about the way I'm doing stand up, something like that, I'd be like, let me go. Like let me go. I'm doing something, and just let me blossom. Let me see how this works. Okay. You're not gonna tell an artist that I don't like what you did with the brush up in that left corner, right? Because you'd be like, well, that could be that left corner they did with the brush could be something great on another canvas in 5 years. Whatever they're doing right there. Do you get what I'm saying? Yeah.
No, I absolutely have a new mission in life.
What's that?
I'm gonna get some young, like 4 years or less comedian, and we'll find them on a show that you're on.
Do you know I would choke them with my hands?
And just be like, hey, I need you to be like, hey, sometimes maybe you should slow your speech.
But the thing is, I do. I've done it all. Like, you know what I mean? Like, I also play with my set
but
so
I
many times.
I want to have someone give you some unsolicited advice.
Mark, if that happens, I will drive to wherever you are and go, why did you give me what is it called in your brain? An aneurysm. Why did you give me an aneurysm? Because I'm not going to stand for that. I'm doing my stand-up, and I don't care what anyone thinks about it anymore.
It's going to be from who you least expect.
Fine. The point is, at stand-up, I'm at a point in stand-up where I don't want to hear anything from anybody. I want to do the art, and I like what I'm doing, and I feel good with what I'm doing, and I like playing with it, and I like the way I play with it, and just like whatever happens, happens. If it doesn't go well, then fine. If people don't become attracted to it on the mass, fine. But I'm fine with that. I like the way I'm doing it, and I like the way it goes, and I tweak stuff, and I get bored with stuff, but like that's it. That's all I want to do, and that's why I think most comics who've been doing it a long time feel that way. But then I've definitely caught myself being like telling a comic, you should maybe try this or that, like a younger comic. But like, I think that's fine when you're younger. Like mine was like a hosting tip. I love to give hosting tips because I think that's very important. That's how you can get a lot of work early. That's always been, everybody's known that. So if you're a good host, like very professional, efficient, you can get a lot of stage time and then break off from that. But the same thing goes with like watching yourself all the time to get rid of the tics. That's fine advice, but that's also not advice about their art. Like I don't want to tell a comic like, you shouldn't joke about that necessarily, or like, are you seeing it? You saw my brain switch right there?
Yep.
Because I've said that before. Mm-hmm. Well, no, here's the thing. I've said.
No, it was deserved.
Yeah, I've said you don't have to, like right now is a perfect example. Do it if you want, but I don't think that's the art piece. That's when you're chasing something. Like right now, the Roe versus Wade, you're going to see a lot of comics who are like, how can I do something that this will go viral? You're writing for views. That's what you're doing. You're not writing because you, again, have sat down and you've lived. First of all, if you're 25 and you're going to give us a fucking brilliant bit about Roe versus Wade, bro, you didn't even know what Roe versus Wade was fucking 5 years ago. If Dave Chappelle, who's 50, who's lived a life and has seen politics for a long time and and kind of really thoroughly thinks about both sides, wants to give you a brilliant bit about it, go ahead, because again, he's earned the right for us to want to hear it. I want to hear what he thinks about it. I want to hear what Bill Burr, I want to hear what Louis C.K., and I want to hear what Chappelle have to say about it. Those three, to me, are the social justice comics that they've earned the right to where when anything pops up on the news, well, what do they think? Not that I agree with them, but I just want to hear their take on it because they have mastered the craft. They've mastered the craft.
I will say this. Something I appreciate about your comedy is there's a lot of comedians that I deal with that they go for like, okay, so Roe versus Wade. Yeah. Someone's going to do the most low-hanging.
Sure.
They're going to go for the first thing that pops in their mind.
Yeah.
And it's never good. What I
Or
do,
it's just like a table, like someone in the audience could have thought of it.
exactly.
That's what it is.
And what I do
Yeah.
appreciate about your comedy is you have an elevated.
You think so?
I do.
Man, that's a good
I
compliment, dude.
genuinely do. I think
Thank
like when
you.
I watch your crowd work, like there's easy shit you could go for.
Yeah.
But you have an ability, and you can tell from more veteran comics that they're gonna go for like option C, which
Yeah.
is like, yeah, you could go for, the boyfriend of like, how his hair looks, but you're gonna go deeper and be like, oh, this is why you cried at summer camp, blah blah blah.
Yeah.
Like there's an elevated nature, the layers to the joke.
Yeah. I think that comes with like knowledge too in life, a little bit too. Like being like you learn more, you know things. You're like, why people are a certain way. You've seen them.
And that's why I think like the comedians who get canceled, yeah, it's because you went for like the dumb joke that everybody could do. But if you do a smart version that actually shows thought, I think it's more welcome.
I think it's very hard to see. Someone said, was it you? Someone said there's no great comedians under the age of 35. Oh,
I didn't say that.
Okay, I was talking with Fahim. Fahim said that Chappelle said, he heard Chappelle say, someone said, you can't be a great comedian under the age of 35, really. And I said, that's actually bullshit. Oh, no, I'm sorry. That's not what it was. He goes, you can't be a killer before 35. And I said that was bullshit. Now I would rephrase the sentence and say you can't be a great comedian before 35. I could agree with that. But being a killer is two different things, because like you can kill and be very original and masterful and kill at 28 because you're a hell of a performer. And it doesn't have to be deep or have layers. It could just be like, well, this guy's got like a brilliant act. He's got a brilliant act. So I disagree with being a killer. And he said someone, I think like Chappelle or someone said that. And I was like, I don't necessarily agree. Like there's killers like where I definitely, I'm thinking right now in my head, I'm like, what young comic is like, oh, this motherfucker kills like every time on stage, like kills. Like, cause if you watch like, the older you get, like now, like when if I have some killer sets, I'm like, man, I've never killed that hard. I'm like, it's always like, you're like, damn, I'm killing. And it's just because of like being a vet, but I'm trying to think of like a young comic that I'm like, well, this motherfucker kills.
All I could think of was like Bo Burnham.
No, he's never killed. That's different. That's not killing. He's just funny. I watched Trevor Wallace kill the other night. And he's probably 29.
He was one of those ones where like the first time I saw him, I was like, oh boy, the Instagram guy. And then was like, oh damn.
Well, here's the misconception. People might think he's an Instagram guy, but he started in stand-up. And then he took us, like, as he was doing stand-up, he's like, well, let me do this behind the scenes.
Yeah.
And that's what elevated him. So he has the raw comedic, the comic in him, and he's a performer.
Oh, he's great.
And I had to follow him at Jam in the Van on Friday, last Friday or Saturday. I was at Jam in the Van, and I was going, he was the sweet spot. Maybe one before him was the sweet spot. It was host 1, 2, 3. He was up third. Pretty good spot. I'm up fourth. Still pretty good spot. But at Jam in the Van, it's kind of like this indoor. It gets hot, and the later you go, the harder it is. And he was killing, man. Like I had never seen him kill this hard. Where I was like, oh no. Like I was just like, how am I gonna do this? I wasn't scared because I was like, I don't care. But I was just like, in my head, I go, how am I going to do this? How am I going to do this? Like, and I never know. I'm just like, let me go up and just see what the situation is, ride the wave, whatever. And he killed so hard. I mean, it was very impressive. And I've been watching him for a while. And like, I think I mentioned before, he's very polished. And his work ethic is if not one of the best.
It's not?
If not one of the best.
Oh yeah, no, it's definitely one of the most impressive ones I've met.
The only, I could say my work ethic is, but I don't get the opportunities he does. If I could get up fucking 4 times a night, I would love to. You know what I mean? But like, so that's awesome. Like, it's fun. Like, I'm going to watch this guy skyrocket and never talk to me ever again one day. He'll be like, who are you? But he was killing so hard. He finishes his set and like, that room holds like 140, 150. About 30 people stood up. He's like, thank you guys so much. And like are leaving to go to the bathroom now. And it's like they have to come towards the stage as they're leaving and go. And like it's just like he's such a nice guy that he's put in a situation where he's like, oh no, sit down, where are you going? You know, he's doing his thing, and then I'm watching it, and like they're like whatever, and I look at him and I'm on the side, I'm like, Trevor, just don't worry about it, just bring me up, I'll handle it, you know what I mean, I'll just handle it, because I knew he was like trying to be nice, and he's just like, I was like, just I'll fucking deal with this. And it was funny, so he saw me and he just brought me up. And then there's still some people, and I just fucking, without a plan, I don't know what I'm going to do till I grab the mic, and I just start going in. I go, are you fucking kidding me? Oh, you saw the person you paid for, but the guy trying to chase his dream. Like I just started riffing, and then I was getting laughs. Some people were leaving. I go, no. Some guy turned around, laugh. I go, don't you dare fucking laugh at me. You had your chance. Like I was doing some shit, and eventually I got the room, and then I did my set, and it was fun. It was fun to like figure out how to do that. But man, that guy fucking killed. And that's going back. That's a guy under 35.
Mhm.
And you know, consistently he does good. Another killer, I'm trying to think off the top of my head, that's like killer is like killing's hard to say. You know, people are like I killed, but like killing's hard. Like killing is like you're in that magical pocket sometimes where you're like, whoa. You know, and some rooms you can't kill. It's just not possible. Some of Mark's shows, it's just like not possible to literally murder.
Yeah, still waiting for you to murder it.
Yeah, it's hard. Those rooms can be they're not like killer rooms.
Yeah.
You know? Ice House can be a killer room. That's going to be opening up back soon.
That was one of the first shows I booked you on.
Yeah. It was a good one. 4 years ago.
God, Lord.
Something like that.
It was the Thursday before the pandemic.
Was it?
2 days before the pandemic started.
It was?
Yep.
Wow.
March 13th, 2019.
This guy fucking has dates remembered when he first met me and hung out.
Like LeBron, dog.
A lot of guys could probably do that. All right. So again, this was the first week episode where that came out today. So this is the second week. Write in. Feel free to write in if you guys want, and we'll talk about your issues too. That's always a segment we could throw in here. You could email, so it's anonymous, at lenoci.michael@gmail.com. I don't need to spell that out for you. If you're watching this or listening to it, you have my name. So lenoci.michael@gmail.com. Write in any of your issues that you need to talk about. Listen, BetterHelp is a great place to get therapy, but it costs money. The best part about Life with Lenoci is it's free. It's free therapy. How about that? It's free therapy. A lot of people are saying go to BetterHelp. People are going to see therapists. They can't afford it. They're like, well, what do I do? There's some people who have like pro bono therapists. You don't need that. All you need is me and my producer. He'll read it. I'll listen, and I'll give you the tools you need to help you out in situations that you're struggling with. And it doesn't even have to be somebody who's struggling with issues. You could just be someone living life, and you want someone to talk to, and you want someone to listen to, and that's what I'm here for. So you will email us, and it's anonymous, lenoci.michael@gmail.com. Submit. What up, Mark?
Can we create a company called lesserhelp.com?
Lesserhelp.com. That's what we are. If this became huge, that would be the website for Life with Lenoci podcast. It would be called lesserhelp.com. That's it. What's lesserhelp.com? It's basically a podcast, but still, we'd probably get sued, but whatever. Would we? You know, can you? If it's not taken, you should Google it. So start writing in. Let us know. And for next week, if you want to stay tuned for next week, pulled a fire alarm in college. That story's for next week. That's a fun story that I remembered, and I didn't get to, the problem is I'll write down the things I want to talk about throughout the week, and then it gets long, and then but that will be at the top unless other important things come up. But thanks for watching, guys. If you are watching, please like, subscribe, comment anything you want. Usually we'll talk about it. And then also, if you're listening, please leave a 5-star review, share the podcast, let people know. Thank you, guys. We'll see you next week. Appreciate everything. Bye.